cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's time again to cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's the number one podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexisting, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is coexisting, but to know the real, you just gotta listen.
What up, everybody, and welcome to the 52 Scott Podcast. This is For Women Wednesday. I'm your host, Freddie G, joined by my co-host, K Money, Slash, and Comedian 96. Collectively, we are the Mind of Men. Don't forget to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast. On Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast. And for all my YouTubers, don't forget to like and subscribe. And welcome to another Women Wednesday. Okay, fellas. We know that there are millions of children being raised in a single-parent household. I'm not going to say that single women have it harder than single men. However, what I will say is that whether you are a male or female, being a single parent is not easy. Personally, I don't know what it's like to be a single parent. And to be honest, most men don't. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 73% of single household parents are headed by women, compared to 27% that are headed by men. So with that being said, when I was growing up as a child, most of the kids in my neighborhood grew up in a single-parent household being raised by their mother. However, there were unique circumstances where some kids were raised by their grandparents. That was the case for me. My mother had me as a teenager, so I was raised by my grandparents. Nevertheless, my mother had a hand in raising me too. So with that being said, fellas, let me ask, do y'all come from a single parent household? And if so, what parent raised you?
My mom raised me. She was a single parent. So
yeah, I was single parent household. My mom raised me as well.
So my parents were married for, I guess until I was about maybe 11, 12. Around that age, and then they separated, divorced or whatnot, and then from that point it was with my mom only for maybe a year or two, and she passed, and then it was like off to the streets you go. You know what I mean? So kind of both, but
yeah,
my parents were married when I was a child, 5, 6, 7, baby,
yeah,
until 10 or 11 they separated, and then at 13 that was it. Now after my mom passed, my dad was around, of course, so I had a chance to get the best of both worlds, basically, to learn both sides.
Yeah.
And like you say, shaping, you can tell a sort of a difference when there's a one parent or single parent household, and you can almost kind of tell if it was the mom that raised this person.
Yep.
Just through general attitudes of that individual,
Yeah. So let me ask y'all, do y'all believe that if you get your child involved in some sort of activity, it doesn't necessarily have to be sports, but in most cases, a lot of cases it is sports. Do y'all believe that getting your child involved in a specific activity helps them become better citizens in society when they become adults? And if so, in what way?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it does because it helps them. If it's sports, then it shows them about teammate and leadership. You learn both through sports, and those two things you can take with you into any area of your life. You can either be a leader in it, or you're gonna be a teammate at whatever you're doing, whether it's work, your marriage, whatever in life. So yeah, sports would change you as a person to make you better in life.
What do you think, Comedian 96? Any activities, whether it's sports or whatever?
Yeah, I have a famous line I like to use from Biggie. I grew up a fucking screw up. got introduced to Shape Center, not the game. So I'll say this: up till I was 11, I was bad. I was a screw up, and then going to places like Shape Community Center, it keeps you busy. It keeps you occupied. They help with my homework.
So you had like a big brother. And shit.
Not big brother. No, Shape Community Center. They had all kinds of activities. They had we had camp. We had martial arts, woodworks, T-shirt printing.
Yeah.
So you were
Just a lot of different
activities to do.
Yeah.
That kept us busy, and I couldn't get in trouble because I was.
Well, that was what that was about. To
Yeah.
keep your mind from being.
So let me ask you. You know what? This is good. Slash, you made a really good point about sports and teammates and helping you. So let me ask this. Now, Slash, I know that you were introduced to music at a very young age.
Yeah, very young.
So that was kind of your activity.
Right.
So, and I'm going to come back to you, Comedian 96, because I got a question for you.
Okay.
But how did music shape you to become who you are today in this society, productive wise?
So music taught me to be an individual, not to follow somebody else. Create what you want to do. Find your own lane, basically. And that helps me because I've always been more of a loner anyway. I didn't need to have, friends around to figure out what I needed to do. I always knew what I wanted to do because my mama put something in front of me that I liked. And I gravitated towards it, and it became a part of who I am. And, it just structured majority of my life, basically.
Okay. Now, Comedian 96, you mentioned the Shape Center. You mentioned various things that you could do in the Shape Center. So, tell me how the Shape Center has helped you become the productive citizen you are today.
Simple, by keeping me busy and the variety of things that we had to do, different ways. They introduce you to new things. Like I said, T-shirts. I didn't know how to print T-shirts from scratch. They showed me. I liked it. Pretty much everything they introduced me was new. Most kids from the hood, unless they went to Shape Center, they probably never done it until you go there.
So I get it. I get what they taught you. I'm trying to understand, how did it help you become the person you are today?
Oh, it made me a hustler, basically. It made me hustle to get different avenues to make money. Okay. It helped me in that way. And since I had so many avenues they were teaching me, it kept me busy, so I couldn't get in trouble no more.
Okay. Now, Comedian 96, I'm sorry, K-Money,
Yes, sir.
you and I have something in common.
Yeah.
We grew up playing sports.
Right.
Little League,
Right.
football. In fact, we were rivals. Our teams were rivals.
Yes, sir.
As kids. So, tell me how sports help you with how you are today, shape you into how you are today.
Well, first, I definitely agree that, getting kids involved in something, like Comedian 96 said, it keeps them busy. For me, my mom did get me into sports, and I'm glad that she did. One, because I enjoyed it. But it teaches you discipline, or instills some type of discipline. And it also instills and shows you a level of respect for another individual. Camaraderie, it's a lot that you can learn as a youngster, and I think it's important that we start, you start young, because your brain develops, at an early age. So I think if these type of things are implemented early on, it can definitely impact you as you grow.
Okay, so let me ask you this: do y'all believe that that activities helps improve your academic performance?
In some cases, yes.
Yeah.
And in some cases, no.
Right.
And the only reason I say in some cases no, because there were, back in my high school days, and we all went to the same high school, there were some very great athletes that had horrible academic skills.
Yeah, great
Yes,
athletes, but
sir.
not good students.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not good students. They fail a lot of classes, but they would pass just on the strength of their athletic
yeah.
ability.
So I'm glad you touched that. So, is it that those students they were handicapped by possibly the coaches and the parents because they were actually good at the sport?
Oh, yeah.
Because in the
Yeah.
same
Oh, yeah.
same instance, if you have I've witnessed it. You would have students on the team.
Right.
One athlete was a star, and another athlete didn't get very much playing time.
Right.
Both athletes fail, but come Friday, the star athlete gets a chance to play, where no pass, no play.
Affected the other ones.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was a coaching issue.
Right.
So they were showing favoritism in regards to that. So once a student realized that, hey, I'm the star, I don't have to put in the work.
Right.
Because they're gonna let me play anyway.
And that spoiled them.
Yeah, that's where it hurts.
Yeah. Now, remind me to tell you guys a story. After the show, there's a star athlete that actually is really, really good. I'm not going to tell you the position, but you guys know him. A coach failed him, and he didn't graduate.
Wow.
I remember that one.
So we'll talk about
I
it.
know.
We'll talk about it off air.
I remember
We'll
that
talk
one.
about it off air. So, do y'all agree that an activity such as sports will help you with social skills?
Yeah.
Yeah, most
Definitely.
definitely.
Yeah.
I think definitely,
Yeah.
like I mentioned earlier, the respect and the it was another word I used, but yeah, I think that it helps in those situations and how to interact with other people, outside your comfort
That's
zone.
definitely what it's teaching you. And no matter what it is, you and I want to say it. Maybe this sounds better. You may have a player or two that's got a horrible attitude when he loses, but let's just say, for instance, you got the right teammates. Everybody got the right thing in mind. That might change his mind, or it may bleed on to him that, hey, this is not the type of attitude you need to have on the field. So I think when it comes to social skills, I think anybody can learn from it, whether you have good social skills or not. I think sports helps definitely with social skills.
Okay, so in regards to, so we can keep sports in mind when it comes to activities, but Comedian 96, you mentioned the Shape Center, you mentioned all types of activities within the Shape Center.
Yes.
So keep sports in mind. Think about the Community Shape Center. Do y'all believe that being in activities teaches a child time management?
Time management and organizational skills. Yes. Time management. Yes.
Now, if you don't express that you don't believe that it teaches you, being in an activity don't really teach. You don't see that. I don't see how that teaches time management.
I mean, I think it depends on the activity.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
That's where I was.
Some of
It
them will
depends
teach you
on-
time management, but some don't because it doesn't.
It doesn't
timing
matter.
is not
It's
an
no
issue. Yeah.
time. That's,
So
that's
give
exactly-
me an activity that can help you growth, be productive in society. That's good to keep you out of trouble, whatever. But time management is not a big. You don't really learn time management in it.
shooting bow and arrows.
No, I looked at it this way. We remember at Shape Center had all the activities, but they also had after school program as well, right? So which means when you come in, the first thing before you do anything, we had to check, make sure you had homework. So before there was a game that just came out when Atari came out. Everybody loved it to play it. We all loved to play it. But the first thing that the teachers would say is you cannot play the game until you get your homework done. So that is on the cool kind of time management. It's like you gotta do this before you can get this treat. So it taught you that.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
I think Slash in your dealing with music, there's really no timing early on.
It's not. You kind of make your own time, but as you grow into it,
right, that's when
the mind frame changes to where, okay, now I got to get this done by this point.
Right, because you may have deadlines later on.
But it turned you into a professional now.
Exactly.
From earlier on being involved, and now the more you go, because first starting to do music I didn't have it just right then.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn,
right.
And it took years to learn every aspect of music, from learning how to play something to learning how to mix, learning how to master, learning how to lay vocals, learning how to write a 16 bar, right? Learn how to arrange, learning how to make sure your instruments match.
Right.
It's a lot of different moving pieces, and the more you get into it, the more time consuming it can be. But then the later on, you like, okay, I got to do this faster than this now.
Mm-hmm. So in a sense, it kind of does teaches you time.
Yeah, it does.
So like, because I could see how no matter what the activity is, whether it's sports, whether it's music, whether it's printing T-shirts, or whatever it is, karate class, I think that it all teaches you time management. I think that it all helps. It could help improve academics. Let me show you why. Let's say you really love this. You're a kid. We're talking elementary. Mm-hmm. You really love these activities, right? And you know that you got to be in bed. You're in elementary. You know you got to be in bed at 9 o'clock because to get up for school in the morning.
Right.
You know that you get out of school at 3 o'clock or 3:30, and you go to bed at 9 p.m. And mom say, "Look,
you got 6 hours.
Look, you can't touch your keyboard slash until you finish your homework." Now you know that I got to get down on my homework, because the sooner I get done with my homework, the more time I'm going to have to play with this keyboard before it's time to go to bed. Right? Mm-hmm. So I think that instead of lollygagging and watching Thundercats after school or whatever, instead of watching Thundercats, you're going to be like, let me finish my homework. Yeah. Versus if you didn't have that keyboard, want to play on the keyboard, you're going to watch Thundercats first, then do your homework, or you're going to be taking breaks in between your homework to watch Thundercats. You're going to get some chocolate milk and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, no structure.
So I think that does teach us, especially if it's something you like.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let me do my homework first.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Let's say you bring home a D, and your mama say, you ain't gonna be able to play with that keyboard until you bring them grades up. You really love this keyboard.
Yeah.
There's a good chance that Slash gonna be cheating off my paper to bring his stuff. Now you gonna do your work. You gonna do your work to try to bring them.
Yeah. I'm gonna do my work, or either sneak and play the piano and get an ass whooping.
No, but you get what I'm saying. Because you really love to do it.
Right.
You want to play with your keyboard, so there's a good chance that you're gonna study a little bit harder to get your grades up. To take care of what you need to, because you want to get back on that keyboard.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? You want to say something, Comedian 96?
No. I was laughing. That was they say I'm a sneak and play.
Yeah, man. She said you can't do it.
Yeah.
But you gonna sneak and play on that motherfucker, man. I'm telling you.
Now let me ask y'all this: do y'all believe that activities teaches children goal setting, how to set goals?
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah,
because go ahead. Ultimately, naturally, as kids, you want to be the winner. So, I'm gonna make sure I beat. I know, say it was a little peg game we used to play. I know people could get 9 real easy, so I would make sure to capitalize, get 11. I want to get better than everybody. So you have a goal in your head already. I know all these people can do with this peg game, but I'm better. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it gives you gives you that.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely depending on the activity, you want to get better at it. So I think setting goals is how you can measure your growth in that activity. Like say if it's a sport, you score 10 points one game, next game you may have a goal you want to score 20 points. Things of that nature.
Yeah, and I think that if you learn goal setting as a child, it's going to help you as an adult to set goals. Even if setting those goals could be, I want to take a trip, so I'm going to learn how to save $20 to reach my goal to X amount of dollars. I'm going to say $20 a week for whatever, or $100 a week for whatever, to reach a certain goal so I can take this trip. So
I think it's important though that they be realistic though. You know what I'm saying?
It's very important that the parents teach this to all children, because I think if you teach them about finance and how to do things at a young age, of course it becomes who they are. But the reason why I say it's important for parents to teach that, because if they don't get it nowhere else, then you got a child that don't know nothing about life, and what they need. So yeah, you got to start teaching them the right ways and right things to do to have goals.
So now y'all heard at the beginning of the show, I mentioned a statistic where I said that 73, according to the Census Bureau, that 73% of single households are with moms or moms, and the other 27% are fathers. And I specifically wanted to make sure that I didn't say that women had it harder, that single women
Have it harder.
had it harder than raising a child than a single man.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's not
the same,
easy. Yeah,
it's the
not
same
easy.
thing.
Yeah,
For both parties.
exactly. You gonna say something, K-Money?
No, I'm just saying I agree. It's hard on both single
So
female versus single male.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
So now here's the deal. We look at it from a standpoint of the parent, the stress of raising a child, being a single parent, raising a child, the stress on the parent. Oftentimes, we don't really look at the stress on the child.
Yeah. And they don't know how to express that it's stressing.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard for them to even recognize it, because you can only identify with what you know. It's
Right.
kind of like you can't miss what you never had.
Right. So
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
and like those kids that would go to school and act out. That this may be why. This may be stress from home and not being raised a certain way.
So what I want to do is I want to go over some statistics from fathers not being in the home. So this is strictly, and the only reason I'm doing fathers from fatherless homes is because the statistics say that mothers have the children 73% of the time. So we know mom is under stress because
Right.
pops ain't in the house. So, but I want to read some interesting statistics here. 73% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes.
Wow.
I'm sorry, 63.
63%
63%
of
of youth
suicide.
are from fatherless homes.
Wow.
So a lot of times, you got these men, or for whatever reason, I'm not going to put it all on the men. Whatever reason, mom and dad are not together anymore.
Right.
And I'm assuming that if you're a fatherless home, I know it's self-explanatory. You're not in the house,
With the father.
but I think that you still could be a viable part in a child's life,
Even if they're,
even if you're not
Well,
in the
yeah,
house.
because it takes two sides. It takes the woman's side and the man's side. That brings balance into the child. First off, when the child have balance, they perform better in a lot of different stuff. It's an unbalanced household when it's only one parent. So it is what it is.
Now, this next statistic is interesting because Slash, although you didn't say this, but people can assume. Now, I know better, but people can assume when you said, man, I was raised with both my parents until I was like 11. And then I went with my mom until she passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said at about 13, you took to the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen to the statistics. Now, somewhere, first of all, before I read the statistics, somewhere down the line, the teaching that you were taught, somewhere down the line, it was enough to keep you kind of on the straight.
Well,
now, for the most part, I know you adolescent,
and it ain't been perfect.
things.
You know,
I
you
get
go
it.
into stuff, you do stuff.
But I look at you
Right.
as the man you are today. I look at you as the man you are today. You're able to, and this is not me giving you your flowers just because you're in front of me. No, this is real talk. Like the man you are today, and I see that, okay, he's able to take care of himself. He's working. He has a hit podcast show.
Yeah, we got a hit, child.
and he's doing music. You're productive, right?
Right.
But this statistics say that 90% of all homeless and runaway children are from fatherless homes.
Man,
90%.
I can believe that.
I could believe that.
I mean, it sounds about right.
That sounds right. Yeah.
What do you think, K-Money?
That's a high number. I'm just
high
curious
number.
to
Yeah,
see the motherless homes, if you have the percentages for those.
Well, I intentionally didn't do it.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to tell you. I mentioned it earlier. I intentionally didn't do it because 73%. That's an overwhelming number.
Yeah, it
is.
73%
Yeah.
of these kids
Are raised by women.
Are raised by women.
Yeah.
You know, so now this next statistic is 85% of all children who show behavior disorders come from fatherless homes. You mentioned that, Slash.
Yeah.
By acting out in school.
Yeah, they do that. And like I say, it could be for any reason, you know, because I can kind of, I'll tell you, to make a long story short.
Mm-hmm.
When my parents divorced, I was rebellious. You know what I mean? Because I was used to being in the household with both parents, and then now they splitting up, and I was seeing for years just, you know, difficulties going on between them. And then when it finally, that step occurs, you know, they take that step of separation. You going now, you move to a different side of town. You're away from your friends. You have to meet new people. You're going through new stages, new school, you know,
it's not
new
an easy
teachers.
adjustment for a child.
It's not. So we rebel some kind of way. And my rebellious status when my mom passed was I went to juvenile because of a situation that happened in middle school, which is why I left that side of town. So the guy snatched my chain, and it was a chain that I got. It was my mom's. She just passed.
Yeah.
So I'm wearing it around my neck as pride.
Proudly. Yeah.
This nigga snatched my shit, bro.
Yeah. You can't do that.
I came to school the next day. I had a knife like this, you know, a big over 5 inches.
And audience Slash is showing his fingers, and it's
over
it's
5 inches.
It's probably about half a ruler.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm at middle school. I go to school with that. So I had this guy hold it while we on the bus. But you know, as kids, people talking.
Yeah.
Now I don't know who heard it and who said nothing and how they get the information. But by the time I got off the bus and before I could get to the basketball court where it's about to go down at, they didn't call me. The assistant principal didn't call me, and now I'm in the office. Ain't even been to school 10 minutes.
God.
You know what I mean? So that was me being rebellious to have a knife, and I went to what do you call it, juvenile, and I had to sit in juvenile till somebody came and got me out, and then my dad had to come get me. Now I wasn't living with him.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So that you rebel, and it takes certain things, but had that not happened, had something else happened, I'd have been in more trouble than what I was in. Because if I'd have stabbed that dude at the school, I'd have been a statistic or a product of my environment.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I just say, we do stuff.
I feel that.
You know.
I get you. So this next statistic here is interesting. So 80% of rapists with anger problems come from fatherless homes.
Wow.
Damn.
That would make sense. I mean, it's bad
Why do you think that makes sense?
because think about it. We don't have a male figure in the household, so you're basically raised by a woman.
So that make you want to rape one?
No, this doesn't. But depending on, you only get in the feminine side of being raised.
But wouldn't that make you
Right.
more
Right, I would think it
funny?
would be just the
But
opposite.
you're not.
Right.
No, I would think the daddy would install those values in you to make you not do stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? The dad, that father is. Those are the values, things what we're not supposed to be doing to a lady. Chivalry, stuff like that.
I get where you're coming from.
That's coming
Yeah.
from the father's side. So if you're
Yeah.
not taught that already, and your mom doing that, and
right.
and
if
say if you
there's no man to say don't do it,
Right.
you're probably gonna
And-
treat a woman any kind of way.
and every man don't like their mama, so they be like, I don't like my mama. These other bees in their head
you know,
are the same way.
I'll tell you, I'm glad I never struggled with that, bro. 'Cause
Yeah, me too.
I love my mama.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
So the next statistic here: 71% of all high school dropouts come from fatherless homes.
I see that.
Man, I'm not. I think that's a high number.
All of it is
Yeah,
high.
I mean, I see.
That's extremely
you,
high.
you
number.
get women that say, I'm tired. I'm just tired. You ever heard that before? Yeah, I heard that from your mama before. I'm tired. I'm tired. And they just,
Well, that's because the
You know-
woman needs help raising a child. You know
Right,
what I mean? And,
right.
and same thing with a single dad. He need help raising a child. I mean, it is what it is. It takes a village, so they say, to raise a child.
I think that the key words in that particular one is high school.
high school.
And I'm going to tell you why. Whether you're from a 2-parent household or a single-parent household, I believe at some point all high school children kind of have
Smell
that
themselves.
rebellious little
Right.
Yeah.
thing within
It's due
them.
to age.
Yeah,
To
they
smell
have
them
this
themselves.
life.
and you just gotta hope that
Yeah.
what you've instilled in them when they were younger
Yeah.
kind of helped, like
Keep
I
'em
should-
on the right track.
And
yeah.
not only that, I seen when we was in high school, I don't know if y'all remember this, but people used to enroll themselves. They didn't bring their mom and daddy in high school, but middle school and elementary they did. But high school, I would see people just transfer from another school by themselves. They had their mom and daddy with them.
Well, because they didn't need to be on site with them.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Whatever.
saying.
But they did have to sign
Yeah,
paperwork.
sign some
Now, they had to
paperwork.
say some
Yeah,
paperwork.
but they didn't need the child to.
Okay.
Once the parents sign whatever,
Yeah.
you can go up there
You can
and
go
enroll
okay,
yourself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think, were they enrolling themselves? They might
Well,
say
well,
anything,
well, Well, it said
Yeah.
drop
Drop out.
Drop out.
meaning you have to be in.
In
Right,
first.
right.
You stop
exactly.
going.
True that.
You stop
Yeah.
going. Yeah.
Stop
So
going.
the next statistic: 75% of all adolescent patients in a chemical abuse center comes from fatherless homes, meaning that you were doing some kind of drugs or some kind of
Yeah,
stuff
if it's
or
due for a
whatever.
divorce,
Alcohol.
especially like you were saying, / the divorce,
Yeah.
it messes with you. You rebel.
Yeah.
Well, some people probably turn to drugs.
Yeah, I
See what I'm
mean,
saying?
a lot of
Yeah.
things can happen in a person's life that turns them to drugs at young ages. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? Turn them to drugs and alcohol and stuff like that.
So, Slash, this next one you kind of touched on. Although you didn't stay long until somebody came and get to pick you up. 70% of juveniles in a state-operated institution comes from fatherless homes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, when,
Because the dudes, this a separate time I went to juvenile. The guys I was with, they didn't have a dad in their house. You know what I'm saying? It was just they was staying around their moms and stuff, so they didn't have a dad around.
Yeah,
I did,
yeah.
but we was doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So
and moms can't really handle their sons, when they
Sometimes.
get to that.
Yeah, when they get to a certain
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
Yes.
13, 14, you finna
You
start
start smelling
doing some
yourself.
shit.
Yeah,
Man,
exactly.
I tell my son this. I've told him this before. I don't have to tell him anymore. But years ago, I was telling him that at some point you're gonna come to a point to where you can take me. Meaning that, okay, I think I can whoop dad right
Right.
now because the older you get, the stronger you get.
Yeah.
the older I get, the weaker I get.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a point in time in your life where you know that, you know what, I can get dad now. And all I'm going to have is the morals and values that I instilled in you.
And hopefully they work.
And hope that you don't put your hands on me if you and I come to have a disagreement as young men or as men. And so at some point, you know, we're going to get old.
But you know, I don't have a son, and my answer to that would be, your ass better not never put your hands on me, thinking you can whoop me.
Of course,
because I'm gonna put some fire on your head.
Yeah, we're gonna have to keep you up off. I get that. We get that. But you would hope that it doesn't come to that,
right?
And all you're gonna have. My point is saying that.
If you teach them right,
whether it's a woman or whether it's a man, if you are a single parent, your child is gonna at some point gonna be stronger physically than you are, because you're steady getting old and you're gonna be a little bit weaker.
Right.
And all you're gonna have is the morals and values that you've instilled in them.
And if you ain't taught them, you're gonna be in trouble.
So this last statistic before I come to a close here. So 85% of all youth sitting in prison grew up in a fatherless home.
Yep, I agree. That's my nephew just passed. He was fatherless. Same thing, fatherless home. He was locked up. So yeah.
Right. So in closing, I want to say to all single parents, statistics say your child's chances of being a productive citizen as an adult are slimmer than those who are raised by two parents in a household. Nevertheless, I believe that if you and your child are involved in any type of activities, it will increase their chances of being someone you can be proud of. This concludes another dope episode. Tune in tomorrow for Think Thursday. Don't forget to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast, on Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast. And for all my YouTubers, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Remember, the only way we grow is if you let them know.